Hi guys, in this video I'm going to go through what is it actually like being a reseller in the UK. I'm going to go through the pros and cons, why I became a reseller, and basically my brutally honest experience of how it's been so far. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you haven't seen my videos before, my name is Nick. I'm a full-time reseller based in the UK, predominantly selling men's clothing online using 3 platforms, eBay, Vinted and Depop. Now, I've been doing this for almost 2 years full-time, and then before that, 2 years part-time. And at that point, I was selling out of a very small garage that I rented, lots of vintage board games and literally anything I could get my hands on from the car boots and charity shops. So what was I doing before I became a reseller? I've done loads of jobs over the years. I've been a delivery driver. I've worked in warehouses. I was a postman for a while. But the most recent job that I had that I actually quit to do this full time was working as a supermarket manager at Waitrose. And of course, other supermarkets are available and are far cheaper, like Aldi, for example. So why did I quit that job? Well, there were many reasons, to be honest. The first one was the shift patterns. My God. I hope none of my previous colleagues are watching this. I do have some mates still, obviously, from working there quite a long time. But, oh, I hated it. You would have to work random hours. So as a manager, you would have to open and close the store, duty manager and all that. So you'd have to work 6 until 3, sometimes 2 till 10, sometimes late nights, sometimes overnight completely if someone went sick. And I was just constantly tired. My now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, would basically see me in the evenings and I'd be half dead. I'd be asleep by 9. So yeah, that absolutely was just shit, to be honest. I hated the shift patterns. The other reasons, I didn't enjoy it that much. Like there are things about that job that I did enjoy, the social aspect, which I miss now, which we'll talk about in the pros and cons in a minute. But I would sometimes sit in meetings, and it's embarrassing saying this now, I would sit in meetings and just literally be like, oh my God, this is so boring. When's this going to end? And the other reason was I was a single dad at the time, and I used to try and figure out when I could pick up the little one from school or nursery in between shift patterns, try and plan in advance. I'd have to try and plan for holidays, like the term, half terms. And then you'd be told, no, oh, we can't do that. Someone else has already booked it. Oh my God. I used to lose my mind. Sometimes I get so frustrated. And I'd spend so much of my life there, putting hours, you know, for what? For what? A few benefits that were barely worth it, in my opinion. Looking back now, of course. But yeah, during that time, I was part-time selling, picking up anything I could get from charity shops and car boots, as I said. And it was going all right. I was selling Lego as well, which was fantastic at the time. And I was like, I'm onto something here. Something is working here. I was tracking it on a spreadsheet at the time, which is quite fancy for me. I am not a planner or an organizer, which is worrying. But I did it and it was going all right. And then I met my now wife and she enjoyed doing what I'm doing. And we basically both said when we moved in with each other, let's give this a go for a year and see how we get on. And that's literally why I quit working as a manager at Waitrose, and it's probably the best thing I've ever done. Now, that does lead me on to the pros and cons of being a reseller. This is very important. And one thing to mention is you shouldn't just quit a job without having any savings. I had some savings at the time, so did my partner. You know, we thought about it in advance. If it didn't go right, then would we be okay? And the answer was yes. So that is just one thing to consider. I am not a financial advisor. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons of being a reseller / self-employed person. Let's start with the pros. And the first thing that jumps to my head is flexibility / freedom. But that does come with a caveat, which I'll cover in the cons. But yeah, children. Now, I have 2 small children, 8-year-old and a 10-month-old baby. And with the baby, I have managed to see every single step of the way since she has come into this world, crying her eyes out. It's been fantastic. I've managed to be there for my wife and basically choose what I want to do and when I want to do it. That has been an absolute blessing. Now, the other thing to talk about within flexibility and freedom is holidays and going away. I have not had to ask anyone when I can go on holiday. That to me is huge. And I think we've probably taken around 9 weeks off this year. Not always abroad, of course. I'm not bragging at all. But in a normal job, my previous job, I would get, I think, 4 weeks holiday, not including bank holidays, so that was fun. And you would obviously be allocated that holiday as and when it was available, which absolutely sucked ass. So that is definitely a nice thing. You can plan when you want to go on holiday, when you want to put your store on holiday mode, for example. You can work hard the week before so you can prepare for the weeks you're going to be away. That to me is just fantastic. And sometimes I have to pinch myself that even when I'm away, I can still make sales, which is mind-blowing. It's not passive income, so don't think it is easy money. It is absolutely not. You're working hard before that point to draft enough to cover you over that period. And it does affect your store, of course. It does affect the amount of sales. Because if you're on a roll and your algorithm's good, yeah, that's the way it goes. The next point would be salary / monies. I think this is an important one because in my previous job, you were told you're getting paid this. This is your salary for the year based on your performance. You would have a whole load of KPIs or in your job description, this is what you need to achieve. This is how you need to go from good to very good to excellent. These are what we need to be seeing in your behaviors and all that type of shit that I absolutely cannot stand. And I'm going to get angry because it used to piss me off. I would work hard. I would put myself as a hard worker, maybe not in the right areas, but I would work really hard and get nothing for it. And it used to piss me off. And I'm sure many of you out there can feel my pain here. With this job, being a full-time reseller, your salary is technically uncapped. And only I would say in the recent 6 months, I've realised, whoa, hang on a minute. If I want to earn more money, I have to work harder and list more items and find more items. I was like, wow. What? I didn't actually see this before, to be honest. I did kind of put myself in a box, I guess. So yeah, that has been a big eye-opener to me is you can earn whatever you want to earn. You can make it as big as you want. Obviously, you need to be doing the right things, buying the right items, making sure the business is good. But it is up to you how much you want to put in. You know, if you have children, you can work around it. You can draft in the nights like I do sometimes or in the mornings. You can choose what you want to do. And I think that is just fantastic. Next point would be learning. I feel like you're always learning something new in this job. There's different brands you never ever knew about. The sell-through's ever changing. The platforms are always changing. You know, Vinted just brought out Vinted Pro, for example. We were waiting on that for ages. eBay's changing it up here, changing it there. It's ever changing. I really like that. You have to keep up to date, but I like that every day is different. The next point would be community. Now, this could be a very lonely job at times, but there are plenty of people out there on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube especially. I watch quite a lot of YouTube content creators such as Rally Roots, Daily Refinement, Tech and Sports, Retro Reselling, Luxury Pickers, Simon, which I've mentioned in previous videos. There's probably loads of other people that I haven't mentioned, but Nick and Andrea Hills. Yeah, the community is really nice from what I see anyway. You can take it with a pinch of salt, of course. There's always bad eggs out there, especially online nowadays with keyboard warriors. But you don't have to be by yourself. You can join other people and do meetups and, you know, video chats and things like that. I am trying to push myself out there, especially with these videos. It's a step forward for me. I'm quite an introvert. So I like that aspect that you have people there doing the same thing. They are teaching you and you're learning from them at the same time. And hence why I'm doing this video. Hopefully you can learn something from this too. And I really like that. All right, cons. Let's get straight into it. It is 24/7. You never really switch off. There are times when I think, oh, maybe, you know, working at Waitrose was a better choice, because when I finished my work at 9 at night or 2 in the afternoon, that would be it. I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't check emails. My work would be done. I wouldn't check my phone for anything, and you can just walk off and do whatever you wanted. With this job as a reseller, you're getting offers all day long, morning, night. You're listing different times of the day. I mean, some people are obviously more organized than me. Sometimes I send them off in the morning. Sometimes I send them off at night. You're cross-listing sometimes. You're getting questions, sizing, customer service. There's just loads of different things. There's no one else that's going to do that work for you. You are in control. So it is a bit of a annoying thing that in the evenings, sometimes I'm checking my phone like, oh, someone sent me an offer, or I'm sending out offers. Sometimes it does get frustrating, but you are in control. I can improve that. I know I can. It just happens to be the way I'm wired, and it's important. Like, this is the way I make my money, and yeah, it's a priority. Right, sourcing items to sell. Now, this can be a big problem if you don't know what you're doing. And sometimes it does keep me up at night if I haven't got enough product. Now, this is completely my fault. As always, you are the one in charge. I am in the process of creating new relationships and new suppliers. I do have 2 suppliers that are pretty good, but they don't always have stuff. And there can be months and months on end where there's nothing. So you need to be creating relationships at car boots, charity shops, and any other way possible. So there are times when I have had nothing for the next day in terms of stock, and I am freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to do? The eBay algorithm, you know, I'm not going to get any sales on Vinted, and it's going to suck. And this is my sole income. So it is not a good position to be in. And again, you need to be organized. You need to be planning these things. The other thing linked to sourcing is sometimes I can be out for a whole day and find 3, 4 items, you know, sometimes 10 charity shops, a couple of car boots, and I will find nothing. Those days are the ones that really, really do test you. And I have had many, many times where I've questioned, am I doing the right job? Is this wise? I have 2 young children. Maybe I should get a proper job where I know that the salary is coming in every single month without any worries. Yeah. I have definitely been on Indeed. I've definitely spruced up my CV several times throughout being a full-time reseller. It does hit you sometimes, so you need to be strong and just ride the wave. This is an average. I keep reminding myself, everything's an average. My cost of goods is an average, not just one day. The sales is an average, not just one day, 1 week, 1 month. It's across the year. Some days you're going to have no sales, and that is so bloody annoying. It's so frustrating. You've worked really hard to get good items and you get nothing back. My summer was really bad, and I was genuinely worried, and I was almost applying for part-time jobs. That's the stage it got to at one point. But then I remembered, right, I looked at last year's figures. It was exactly the same. Let's not worry. Let's not stress. Let's keep listing good items. It will come back around again. Your sales will be fine. So yeah, that is definitely one thing that not many resellers talk about, to be honest. And that's a bit disappointing, because they're not always being truthful. It's not always fantastic every single day. I guess another con could be dealing with customers. Now, you're probably going to get this in pretty much any job you do. Some customers are so bloody annoying that it makes you go crazy sometimes. It really does. Like, it infuriates you. But you just have to learn how to deal with this. I am at a stage now where it just goes over my head. As I said, I worked in a supermarket with lots of, I would say, posh customers, not to class things, but oh my God, some of the things I would hear is just mind-blowing. The things they would moan about. I can't even describe it. So, you know, when someone complains about an item on eBay, or they send it back as a return, for me, it doesn't do anything to me. Some people, it might well tick you off and be like, oh my God, I'm going to quit eBay. No, you just have to get over it. So yeah, to finalize, would I go back to a normal job? The answer is absolutely no. But this may end at some point. We have AI. You know, charity shops are going to take photos of clothes and they're going to know exactly what it is. They know exactly what the price should be. They may even just list it themselves through eBay, automated. They don't do anything. So there might not be stock there. Obviously, there are other avenues. You've got rag houses, of course. You have wholesale suppliers. You have loads of different options. But that is just one example of, you know, it could get tricky for some people if you're not looking at alternative avenues. So that's definitely one thing I've been thinking about, is the longevity of doing this. How long can this continue for? I hope you've enjoyed this video and you got some value from it somewhere. Let me know your story down below in the comments. It's really good to speak to some of you, especially through Instagram and the YouTube comments. Hope you have a good day. Peace.